Have you ever looked in the mirror and felt like you're just not enough? Or maybe you've achieved something great, but that inner voice still whispers, "It was just luck," or "Anyone could have done that." If you've ever felt that way, you're not alone. And today we're going to talk about why that feeling is so common, and more importantly, what we can do about it. This isn't just another pep talk. We're diving deep into the reasons you might not be seeing your true, incredible worth just yet. So, what's really going on here? It often starts with something I call the comparison trap. In the age of social media, we are constantly bombarded with highlight reels of other people's lives. We see the curated perfection, the dream vacations, the perfect families, the career milestones, and we unconsciously measure our messy, real-life backstage against their perfectly polished front stage. It's like comparing your first draft to someone else's finished novel. It's an unfair fight, but our brains don't always see it that way. We see the gap and think, "I'm falling behind," or "I'm not as good as them." The truth is, you're only seeing one chapter of their story, not the whole book with all the struggles, the doubts, and the messy parts they chose not to post. Your journey is uniquely yours, and comparing it is the fastest way to devalue your own progress. The second major reason is what psychologists call the negativity bias. Our brains are hardwired from ancient times to pay more attention to threats and negative experiences than positive ones. Think about it. Our ancestors had to be hyper-aware of dangers to survive. Forgetting where the sweet berries grew was okay, but forgetting where the saber-toothed tiger lived was a fatal mistake. This survival mechanism is still with us today. It means you could receive 10 compliments and one piece of criticism, and which one do you think will replay in your mind over and over again? That one criticism. Your brain flags it as more important, more significant. It's not a personal flaw, it's a feature of our human operating system. But knowing this is your superpower. You can consciously choose to give more weight and attention to your wins, your strengths, and the compliments you receive. Now let's talk about our inner critic. We all have that voice in our head that loves to point out every mistake and magnify every insecurity. This voice is often a collection of old messages we picked up throughout our lives, from parents, teachers, or past experiences where we felt we didn't measure up. Maybe you were told you weren't smart enough or artistic enough as a child, and that old recording is still playing on a loop. The key here is to realize that this inner critic is not the voice of truth. It's the voice of fear. Its job is to keep you safe by preventing you from trying new things and risking failure. A powerful exercise is to give your inner critic a name, like Nervous Nancy or Captain Caution. When that voice starts up, you can say, "Oh, there's Captain Caution again, trying to keep me in my comfort zone. Thanks for the input, but I've got this." By separating yourself from the voice, you take away its power. Another huge factor is that we often tie our self-worth to external validation. We base our value on what we do, not who we are. We think, if I get that promotion, then I'll be worthy. If I lose 10 pounds, then I'll be worthy. If I get a certain number of likes, then I'll be worthy. This is a dangerous game because it makes your self-worth incredibly fragile. It becomes dependent on things you can't always control: the opinions of others, the outcome of a project, the number on the scale. But here's the fundamental truth. Your worth is inherent. It is not earned. You were born worthy. It's your birthright. It doesn't increase when you succeed, and it doesn't decrease when you fail. You are a whole, complete person right now, in this very moment. Your actions and achievements are things you do. They are not who you are. So how do we start to see our true worth? It begins with intentional practice. First, start a win jar or a brag file. Every single day, write down one thing you did well, one compliment you received, or one small step you took toward a goal. It can be as simple as, I made a healthy lunch, or I was a good listener for a friend. On days when you feel low, you can pull out these notes and remind yourself of your capabilities and your goodness. This actively counteracts the negativity bias. Second, practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a dear friend who is struggling. Would you tell your friend they're a total failure for making one mistake? Of course not. You'd offer them kindness, encouragement, and perspective. We need to learn to offer that same grace to ourselves. When you mess up, instead of beating yourself up, try saying, "That was a tough moment, and I did the best I could. What can I learn from this?" This shift from self-criticism to self-compassion is life-changing. Third, curate your environment. This includes your social media feeds and the people you spend time with. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate. Mute the noise that feeds your comparison habit. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who see your light, and who remind you of your worth when you forget. Your energy is precious. Protect it. And if you're struggling with these feelings on a deeper level, remember that there is no shame in seeking support from a therapist or a counselor. They can provide you with tools and a safe space to explore these patterns. Finally, redefine what success and worthiness mean to you, independent of anyone else's definition. Is it kindness? Is it resilience? Is it curiosity? Is it the courage to show up every day, even when it's hard? Your true worth isn't in a job title, a bank account, or a perfect picture. It's in your character, your heart, and your unique spirit. It's in the way you treat others and the way you treat yourself. The journey to seeing your true worth is not a destination. It's a daily practice of unlearning the negative patterns and relearning your inherent value. You haven't seen your true worth yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't there. It's been there all along, waiting for you to acknowledge it. Be patient and be kind to yourself on this path. You are more powerful, more capable, and more worthy than you could ever imagine. The truth is, recognizing your worth is less about discovering something new and more about remembering what's always been there. It's like wiping the dust off a mirror. Your reflection hasn't changed, it was simply hidden. One of the most transformative ways to keep that mirror clear is through presence. When we live too much in the past, we drag old labels and mistakes with us. When we live too much in the future, we tie our value to outcomes that don't even exist yet. But worth only ever lives in the present moment. The question isn't, what have I achieved or what will I become? It's who am I right now? And am I honoring myself in this moment? Here's a simple exercise. The next time you catch yourself spiraling into doubt, pause and ask, if I believed I was already enough, what would I do right now? This question shifts you from proving your value to living it. Another powerful step is to celebrate being, not just doing. Most of us measure our value through output, the things we complete, the goals we tick off. But your worth exists in your essence, not your productivity. Think about it. A newborn baby hasn't achieved anything, yet we see their worth as infinite. Somewhere along the way, we forgot that truth about ourselves. By reminding yourself daily, my existence is valuable, regardless of what I accomplish today, you slowly dismantle the lie that worth must be earned. Also, don't underestimate the role of connection. Often others can see our worth long before we do. Surround yourself with people who reflect your light back to you, who remind you of your strengths when you forget. Sometimes healing begins with borrowing someone else's belief in us until we can believe it ourselves. Ultimately, the journey to seeing your true worth is a practice of remembering. Remembering you are more than your mistakes. Remembering you are more than your achievements. Remembering that being human, messy, imperfect, growing is enough. The day you start living from that truth is the day you stop searching for your worth and start embodying it. And that shift changes everything.